When a leader is willing to fight for and stand up for their people and protect them, the people will like them. In Esther 8 and 9, this is what we're told. So when Haman was hung on the pole, the king gave to Esther the house and the land that belonged to Haman. And Esther said to the king, Mordecai is my cousin. The king called to have Mordecai brought in to him, and he had taken the ring that he had given to Haman, and he gave it to Mordecai. And Esther put Mordecai in charge of all of Haman's land. Esther then went and she fell before the king and she begged him, please, would you please protect my people? I cannot bear that this would happen and that my Jewish people would be killed. And the king said to her, you know that when an edict is given in my name and it is placed with my seal, I can't undo it. But I'll give you permission to do whatever you think's best, to send a letter out and tell them what to do. So Queen Esther and Mordecai, they sat down and they wrote a new law. And in the second law, they wrote that the Jews had permission to fight for themselves, that they could stand up on that appointed day that Haman had set apart for them to be killed. And when the Jews around the territories heard, there was a huge celebration. They all were celebrating. And they were very excited that they had permission to protect themselves. On the appointed day that Haman had set for them to be killed, the Jews gathered together and no one could stand against them. Even the leaders in the territories and provinces were standing with them and helping them fight against those that wanted to fight against them. And people were afraid of Mordecai because he was important and they knew he was powerful now in the palace. Well, the king, he went to Esther and he told her what was happening and how they were protecting themselves. And he said, now, what is it that you want? And she said, would you please just allow them to continue to protect themselves? Allow them to even protect themselves against Haman's sons. And so on the second day, the battle went, and they did. But on the third day, they rested. Well, they called this day, Mordecai and Esther, the Feast of Purim. And they declared it a holiday, and they wrote a letter and sent it out to all the people that they were to celebrate on this day and to give gifts to each other and to give gifts to the poor, to celebrate that they were able to protect themselves. And the king, he taxed the people and he became their leader, and Mordecai became second in command next to him. And the people, they respected Mordecai, because Mordecai protected them. He stood up for them. And to this day, that festival is still celebrated amongst the nation of the Jews. May God honor the telling of his word. What do you learn about the king? And what do you discover about Mordecai as a leader? How does Mordecai and Esther make a way for their people? And what's the impact on the nation because of what they did? It's important for us to be in the Word, to be with Jesus, so that we can be transformed. Shalom, y'all.